Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Vanessa, and you are here with me, Hush No More with Dr. Vanessa. This is where we talk about those topics that people do not want to discuss, who do not want to come forward and really share their experiences because of one of my things is societal norms. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm so excited. If you've been following us, you know that Hush No More, we focus on sexual assault, domestic violence, human trafficking, child sexual abuse, all those crappy topics that happens in our community. And I just want to have more conversations to talk about it. This episode is actually being sponsored by CTR Media Network. They are one of our amazing sponsors who actually allow us to be on their platform in a way to encourage other people to have really good content and to raise awareness. So I'm very grateful for CTR Media Network. You can find us on their platform as well. And so check them out because we get credit for your streaming. So I want y'all to go to CTR Media Network and check out what they have. There's a lot of amazing podcasts. So I have a guest and I want to get right into it. And this guest is my mentor. She calls me her mentor, but we have the best conversations. And so I want to invite you to meet Dr. Juanita Britt McDonald of Rediscover Me. Welcome.
Hello, 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 everyone, as well as you.
Oh,
I'm sitting over here like, listen to her just with that flattery.
because you've been on before. You were on when we did Hush No More Champions, and so you're
Mhm.
coming back again. And I think this is going to be different because we get to really just have a dialogue, and we be able to talk with the community about P Diddy and the little slap on his hand, and everybody been saying, "Vanessa, what do you think?" And this is my opportunity to share everything that I've been feeling with you, and so I'm very grateful for that. So tell my people about you. Who is Dr. Juanita?
There's many hats I would like to say, but the key part of it is I am a trauma not a trauma informed, but a trauma impact specialist. And our primary aim is to support individuals that have been impacted by different forms of trauma by educating them. And so our primary areas that we focus on is trauma impact in the brain, intergenerational trauma, and emotional dysregulation. And so we compile all of that from community advocacy to consulting as well as training. And so we bring all of that to the forefront using numerous resources and tools. And majority of the tools are those that we have defined that we know impact an individual's brain and help them on their journey of healing.
So what I always tell people is that Dr. Juanita is my counselor. If you want a good counselor, I go to counseling, and maybe you should go to counseling too and reach out to Dr. Juanita. And I have learned so much from you, from my brain and from trauma, and just getting to a better space. So I honor you and I thank you for that. And I
Thank
don't
you.
think that we talk enough about our counselors and how they really work with us. And I'm waiting for the day for you to be like, Vanessa, I'm not seeing you anymore because I know you're going to kick me off soon. Because you hadn't said it yet, but I feel like it's coming.
Oh, you know them little those little paving questions that I'd be like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah, you got me. Yeah,
okay,
Monday,
wait.
I felt like he was like, I'm finna test her a little bit, see what she got going on, because she about to get off my schedule and open it up for somebody else. But I honor you and I thank you. And we shouldn't be with our counselors forever. You should see some progress that you're not stuck to a person. So thank you for that. All right. So I want to talk about P. Diddy, right? And thank you for coming on to talk to me about it because I had a show where I talked about what was his charges before because people didn't understand. A lot of times people look at social media, they look at the news and they don't understand the law and what that really means. And or they'll say that he was set up, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order for our justice system to work, we have to have a lot of evidence, right? It's a lot of evidence that we have to have. And a lot of times, just because we don't have evidence, people are not found guilty because we don't have enough evidence, right? And so when you got somebody like Diddy, you have to have a lot of evidence before you actually bring him to put charges on him. Like they've done their research, they had to get special permission just to be able to go into his home. And I don't think people realize that. But I want to quickly go over the charges, right? So his indictment said that he had charges for racketeering, right? And also abuse, threatened, coerced women, um,
Mm-hmm.
engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice, among other crimes. So that was what he was really charged for, right? And it came back that he was only found guilty after doing all of these things, right? That he
Mm-hmm.
was only found guilty on transportation to engage prostitution.
Right.
Okay? And my problem with that is people don't understand the wording, what that means. That
Mm-hmm.
means he was participating in human trafficking. He was planning, and they came back with proof for that, right? And each one of them charges is up to 10 years. But he was found guilty. So I don't understand why people still taking up for him and how that's really affecting survivors. For me, it pisses me off when I see when individuals get off like that. And
Mm-hmm.
because it makes us nervous. So what is your perspective, your overall perspective of what is just going on with Diddy? And then we'll dive deeper into it of how that even affects victims in our society.
I have been doing a lot of research, and and one of the words that came back in that situation centered on, and this is like all the way across the board. It was like somebody took one reporter's writing and just transferred it over to every form of media outlet, and the resounding statement was it was a step back. But I see that as a great, it's much greater than a step back for victims. It was a step back for, not from the step back from the Me Too movement. It was a step back, and it was greater than a step back because, you're looking at the person challenging themselves in their safety. That form of, am I safe? Not just am I safe, but am I believed? Am I heard? So it's a multitude of things. And so when in my world you'll hear me use the word recoiling. So that survivor, that victim automatically by hearing these words is, what is the purpose of me using my voice, which is what we talk about so much, is amplifying our voice. What is the purpose of me amplifying my voice if I'm not going to be believed? What is the purpose of me if this person can get off on a case like this? What does that mean for my boyfriend that beats me every other night? Or what does that mean for our local law enforcement? Will they believe me enough to come and support me in this? So it's not one form of statement that can be used, it's multiple ones. But the key thing that I'm looking at is the traumatic impact of a survivor being re-traumatized from this, just hearing this, and then causing them to recoil back to the primary impact of trauma.
I don't think people really understand that that is a thing, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, why would victims even care? It's not their case. He didn't do it to them, right? But when we look at a justice system that fails so many, he had a lot of victims, male and
Mm-hmm.
female, right? Just when women, all they want to talk about is Cassie. There were a lot of victims that came forward, and there were a lot that did not come forward. So it affects all of us. And even the victims that didn't come forward, how do we look at how did it affect them? Were they saying I was right for not to come forward?
Well, I've looked at this in several different ways, but the key thing of it is, and I'm going to say this, but I don't. I hold everybody accountable. Okay, I want that part to be understood.
Right? Yeah.
I hold everybody accountable. But I also know that this individual knew how to play the game. And based on how he knew to play the game, he knew how to attack his victims. He knew the proper mind games in order to weave them into his web. And so because he knew the specific nature of how to move, then what happens from that perspective is he began to use what he had. And I actually wrote this down. Um, he actually knew how to use his staff. He knew how to use his business partners. He knew how to use his money. He knew how to use those of affluent, of influence. He knew how to use everyone that was attached to him in order to draw them into the web. And so, how do I use them? I had to have something on them. I had to have done something in order to hold something over their head. And so when you're looking at that, how if I've manipulated you and I know what bells and buttons to push on you, then I know how to draw you in. I know how to get you to do what I want. And therefore, guess what? I know how to get what I need to satisfy those little urges that I have, in a sense.
Mhm. And you have money. When you have money, you could pay people to shut up.
Exactly.
So you can control people like the
Mhm.
bodyguards, the drivers. He really was paying them off. Like people were scared of him. And so
Mhm.
it gets to a point where some people are so big that they become scary because they have the money to really destroy your life. And that's
Yes.
the person. And I don't what I'm gonna say this and y'all can get upset, but I see some of the most poorest people, men and women, right, that are financially not in a good place, that is supporting him as if y'all on the same level. You don't even understand what it's like when you have that much money. But those are the ones that's supporting him. The people of influence that have money, you don't see them coming forward and saying nothing. They don't separate themselves.
Mhm.
That's what you see. But the people that's supporting him, you have to think about, why are y'all even supporting him still? That's weird to me.
Well, we see it playing out today in different areas. We're seeing it play out in politics. We're seeing it playing out in the music industry. We're even seeing it played out in the church. So when you look at it, you said the key word, men with money, or it could be females with money. So we're not gender specific in this statement, but just that it's this thing with the money, which makes gives this it's giving that invisible power that I'm invincible and I can do whatever I want to do.
Mhm. And you see it. You see
Mm-hmm.
it in society so much, but I don't understand why people don't get that, right? From a victim standpoint, I mentioned Cassie real quickly. We know that Cassie did go into the civil court system and did a lawsuit for, she got $20 million. It was closed, but they brought it up in the criminal part. What do you think? Why do some, I want to give you a question that I know that you can answer from a victim standpoint, but based on your experience in working with victims, how often and why do victims go the civil court route instead of the criminal court route? Why do you think victims make that choice? Because they keep talking about she went for the money. Can you explain it from a mindset of a victim?
Right. Well, for really, it's the advisement of their attorney. That's number one.
Yeah.
There is a process, and a majority of us don't understand the process of how we approach courts. It's no different than being on your job. There's steps that you have to take in order to get to a particular level. So by her, number one, for her mentally, she had to take that step in order to begin to find her power
Right.
to amplify her voice and fight for herself. I'm going to always see voice and power and fighting from that perspective. Taking that was a first step for her to be able to go back and take back her power. I know a lot of people, and I heard this so much. Well, if he had have done all of that to her, why is she going after the money? Was it really about the money, or was it about her gaining her power back? And we don't, and no amount of money can help you with that if you have been victimized. It's because it's something that she will live with for the remainder of her life.
What I've also seen is that individuals, right, who go this route often have been taken care of. Cassie, he took care of all her bills, her apartment, the cars. Like he really, it was power and control. We look at financial abuse all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What was she going to do? He blocked her from being able to really perform, to make any more records. Nobody could work with her. So how
Mm-hmm.
can she maintain a standard of living when he has provided everything for her? And we see that all the time as relates to domestic violence from a financial abuse standpoint. It's complete power and control, because can you really leave when I financially provide for you? And that's not greed. Those was promises that he made to her. And so I don't think people really look at that either, is that it's control through money. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
provide for you because I love you, but it's really a way that a narcissist will treat you to come on top. So
Well, Dr. Vanessa, and I'm probably going to get this particular person's title wrong, but she was either his publicist or she played a major role, because I think she was also trying to become an artist. But basically, this particular person became friends with Cassie, and she also became that confidant, and she tried to help Cassie in numerous manners. And so when she testified, the thing that she said, which is she had found a way, Diddy had so much on her, and so when she found a way to get away from him, He had blackballed her all the way across the board to the point that she could not get a job. She couldn't do anything in the industry, and she had a child that was dependent upon her. So it wasn't until she went back to him that she had a form of income,
Mm-hmm.
power, and control.
Yeah. And he was like, well, why she didn't leave? She was participating. All right. Can you talk about the mindset of a victim who stays with their abuser, and why that often happens sometimes when they stay with their abuser, even though we know it's wrong and they've tried, but they continue to go back? What is that mindset for them?
There's
And
two ways that we can look at this. One of them is in the factor of programming. You'll hear me. That victimized programming that occur, and so what that means is that person has been abused or belittled so much that they don't feel any form of value unless they're with their abuser. The other one would be Stockholm syndrome, where they do have a form of love for their abuser, but it still kind of falls into the same category. They sort of like what Diddy did, which is drape them with all of this glamour and glitz and resources and things that they've never had, and taking care of them for a long period of time. And so there's this conflict within the minds of what love truly is. It's sort of like that dualism that, yes, love is hurting me. Love's supposed to hurt when that's not the case.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, grooming. We always talk about grooming. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is really
Mm-hmm.
good at grooming. And
Mm-hmm.
I like to talk about human trafficking from a young person standpoint. They had a very big age gap. She was young, like she's
Mm-hmm.
really younger than him. And so that was like the love of her life. And
Mm-hmm.
you would do what someone asked you to do, right? And people will say, even when we have girls and boys that's missing in human trafficking, they're like, why didn't they just don't leave, right? They really do play with their mind and make
Mm-hmm.
them feel like nobody else loved them, nobody else is going to want you, nobody's going to love you like me. And so, yes, they do participate in those actions and they find it very hard to leave. But I think it's just very judgmental to say they should have just left. It
Mm-hmm.
is not just easy to leave.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It's not. And first thing, to that first answer response to that answer is I want you to understand that the brain doesn't develop till we become between the ages of 25, 26. So when we take into consideration the younger, the youth, even in just simple dating, it's not developed enough to really comprehend, or intelligent enough to really comprehend what anything is. And then we also have to add in into this again, going into the generation intergenerational, is how was that person raised? Did how were they raised? What environment did they come from? How did they learn certain things? And so we can look linear, but there is no one response. So when we begin to look at our youth, or someone that get into a whose primary main aim, which Cassie's aim was to become an artist. That was her whole goal. And so I would say she probably, and this is just my opinion and my opinion alone, she probably thought she had hit the jackpot when she got with Diddy, not knowing that this was over her head, not understanding that what comes along with being attached to someone such as that. And so therefore it takes us back to what was her relationship was like with her parents. Was she taught about love and relationships? Did she know, did anyone pull her aside and educate her on the consequences of the industry? So there's multiple factors that we have to look at. And so even today, when we even as parents, when we look at our children, are we speaking to them in such a way that they understand,
Mhm.
the concept of abuse and love, that they understand that no is no? Do they understand the difference between patty cake and I'm beating the crap out you?
Mhm.
you know so if I'm not developed and educated enough in a particular area, how can I make a conscious decision that will lead me out of a bad situation?
Mhm. And you and I both know we have grown kids that you
Mm-hmm.
could teach them some things and they still don't listen.
Yes. Let me stress that.
You
Yes.
be like, where this come from? Now I know I taught you better than this. You just gonna do what you want to do. You gotta learn the hard way, right? So
Mhm.
just fairness. Her mama and daddy might have told her some good things, maybe not, but do they really listen? You
Yes.
don't listen, right? And you have to figure things out for yourself. And I just think that it's a hard place to be in, a very
Hmm.
hard place to be in, and especially how people talk so bad. One thing I like social media because we have platforms like this. I get to see my family, but some of these people be hiding behind social media and they got some slick mouths. They would never say that in front of people. People are horrible on social media. And I was surprised at about the amount of women that were on Diddy's side. Like, what happened to women sticking together and supporting each other, right? Y'all saw the video and you still supported him. That's crazy. I just don't see that. That's just it.
Well, I was in an interview with someone and they made a statement and it took everything. And I mean, I was biting my tongue because they came back with some type of old saying that, well, she asked for it. If she had not have been at so and so and so and so, then this wouldn't have happened. And I'm like,
I can't go nowhere.
the things, nobody can. The hardest thing I had to understand was I can never tell you how to feel.
Never.
I can't tell you how to feel. I can't even even our little ones, when our children come to us and they are hurting, we don't even know how to help ease that pain. Only thing we can do is if they is baby, tell me where it hurt at, and we're gonna go there and rub it, we're gonna kiss it, and then we're gonna say, did that feel better? But they still have a pain. We don't know if that is making them feel better. But the thing of it is, we have got to stop. And I think I cringe when it is of us, when it is women. And I will be honest with you, I look at you cross-eyed. It causes me to really question you and your moral compass, because if you can agree with someone who, when we have a video showing the nature of abuse, and you still come up with questions, I don't want to be attached to you.
Mm-mm.
Because if I'm trying to if you don't get my little codes and I'm trying to give you little signals that something is wrong with me, and you sitting up here all glamour and glitz because you're in this person's face, it's like you and I walk in a room, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, Dr. Vanessa's all, man, I just love her, she's so amazing, and da da da. And I'm over here like, no, she ain't. I'm like,
Fake.
you're not saying anything. You're not saying anything, because my intent is gonna be like, okay, she's silent, everybody bragging on somebody, on this person, but she kind of silent. What's going on? In my mind, I'm gonna be like, what's going on? What's the deal with this? My eyes and my instincts are just gonna start churning. But for you to not pick up, not to see, I get it. You don't get everything. I really, really get it. But what I will say is this: for us to help light the fire that's already burning a victim,
That's hard.
that's a problem. And we are wrong for it.
And publicly doing it. Lighting a, not even with a match. You got a whole blowtorch at a person. It's horrible. I don't like it at all. Frankisha says she agreed. People always assuming things instead of getting the facts. Definitely did that in this case. They don't have the facts or didn't even really know the charges and how much investigative work went behind it. Kim says, yes, they are saying free Diddy, and it blows my mind. I don't understand how y'all want to free Diddy.
I know.
I just don't get that, and maybe I'm wrong. Frankie just said slick because they think they know everything. Real slick.
Hmm.
I just be wanting to just scream sometimes when I see what people say on social media and be so mean.
Yeah.
And you're a victim, but you see how people are just being horrible towards you.
Hmm.
Kim say, I saw that interview and I know you were hot.
Yes. Yes.
We get passionate over here. Okay. In her last comment, everyone likes to say it was consensual, but how can you say that after seeing her to try to leave and he beat the
Hmm.
SHIT out of her? Nothing was consensual. She has been groomed to believe it was consensual. The DA dropped the ball by not having a psychologist testify that specializes in domestic violence and the mind control that a person has over someone. And they did drop the ball. They should have had Dr. Juanita on there.
Yes, they should have.
Dr. Juanita should have been on it. Because when we look at just the whole mindset, the brain and trauma in the brain, we know that she wouldn't have been able to leave. And
Hmm.
they even talked about how the driver went and picked her up and wouldn't
Yes.
even take her sometimes. Like, and how can she escape? Y'all saw when she tried to escape in the elevator, he drug her behind back in there. That's
Hmm.
crazy, right? So how can you be free, P. Diddy? I just don't get what free Diddy. I don't understand that. And why.
And I will say, Kim, I as I sit there and looked at all of it, looking at that interview, looking at this trial, and watching all the things that that was taking place and the things that was being said, I was livid, just ready to jump through the screen because I just couldn't believe half of the things that was being said, half of the things that was being done. It was just, re- it was just ridiculous.
I think sometimes people look at actors, actresses, any type of rapper, any type of superstar, right? As if the people that they're portraying on camera and screen and videos is real life. That's not really who they are. That's not who they are. But people have like this socialism, like this socialism, how would sensationalism about them,
Hmm.
and I just don't think that that's right. That's not who they are, and people feel like there's no way they got money. Why would they do that? A lot of our clients that are being abused are not poor. That's the misconception. They're not poor. They have money. I've had clients that said, Vanessa, I just need to know where to go and how to do this, come up with a strategy because I got the money. Like, got money. But a lot of our victims are not poor. So people that have money and that are in higher status do commit crimes against others.
Hmm.
Kim said they should have had her testify, and also half of the stuff that was being said by the DA is almost like it meant to blow the case.
I can agree with that, Kim, because I looked at the lineup of the jurors, 8 men, 4 women. And when I looked at that, I was like, that's very unbalanced.
Yeah. Why did you have so many men? But
Hmm.
maybe they thought they'll look at it differently. I don't understand how you a male and you have daughters or children because he abused men as well, right? It wasn't
Hmm.
just women that he did it to, and you're still taking a that could be your son or your daughter. So that's rough for me. Frankisha said, Dr. Juanita, you would have been great because you got a great voice. You've been great. I think so too.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
And
Yes.
Kim said, money equals power. Diddy had a whole song about it. Yeah. They sing it in their music because they be so bold about it.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just in this place that I want people to really understand that everyone is not a good person. And you shouldn't automatically doubt. You shouldn't take sides unless you were there. If you're not there and you're looking at it on the news with us and all that information, how can you really say what happened? You do not know what happened because you weren't there. So why always pick the side of the abuser and not the side of the victim?
And that goes back to what we started out saying, Dr. Vanessa. The nature of, he knows how to play the game. He knows how to present himself in front of the camera. And every time, just go back to what we all do know, and how he, number one, paid off the hotel staff members. How the hotel staff member was so mesmerized because it was him, that they failed to even, it was like blinders went on, and they didn't even see Cassie. Even when they looked at the video, it became a game of and there wasn't anything funny about that. In our minds, it's like, if he did that, what else has he done? To
Right.
what degree
Mhm.
has he abused her and others?
This all we know. This all we know, right? Frankisha said his kids are on his side, and that's the sad part. Um, I think it's very hard for kids to go against their father, right? And not to believe that he's innocent. What do you think about that, Dr. Vanessa?
That's what I was about to say. Same thing. Unfortunately, with our kids, even though children are going to love their parents,
Mhm.
good, bad, ugly. When we look, when we look at parental syndrome, parental syndrome truly breaks it all down. Children want to be like their parents. The parents can be the worst parents in the world, but they will do things, children will do things just to get that little, hey, I see you, kudos, yeah, I got you. They want that form of love that parent is going to give, even though it's not healthy, even though they know their parent is a bad parent. They're going to stand behind them. But it takes a long time of, you know and I'll say years of them, because just like a survivor, or a victim and a survivor adapts, so does a child. They adapt in forms, and amazingly, that form of adaptation becomes their survival mode that they operate in. So if I've been in this for a very long time, that's my normalcy.
Yeah, that's fine. And also, I was thinking about if they were to come out and say that my daddy is guilty, right? How would they be treated? Would they be disowned by the family? Would they not be in the will anymore? Would they lose money? Remember when Latoya Jackson had came out and told the stories about the Jackson, how everybody started hating her?
Hmm.
That was big, right? When you come
Really
forward and
big.
you started talking,
Yeah.
people started hating Latoya Jackson when she was telling the truth about their family. And so,
Mhm.
can you expect children to really come forward and say something? That's just like how hard it is for a victim to come forward. Same thing for a child. So maybe they know that he's guilty, and maybe they don't. Maybe they feel like they can't come forward. Was what I was thinking.
Well, and this brings up a thought for me. I remember my sister, what with one of our friends, or not necessarily friends. It was one of the families in our community that I grew up in. Um, Her daughter she came up and she was just bragging on her dad and talking about how much of a great man he was, and they stood by him. And my sister looked at me and she said, Susie, how could they say that about him when he did this and this? And I told her, I said, it's sad, but they know how abusive he is.
Mhm.
It's just that they are have found a way to block that part out. And it becomes, we talk about it quite often. You and I talk about it quite often, and the word is dissociation. It's that form of separation. And the brain is such a unique organism that it can dissolve that pain in such a way. And it's crazy, but it does operate in that manner.
It does happen. It does happen, and people don't even realize that it happened.
Mhm.
I be laughing when I don't even really go to funerals no more, especially when they up there lying doing the eulogy like this person was a good person, and you know they weren't. You know they weren't. Like, why you lying on these people? You know they weren't a good person. All right. So Kim got a comment. She said it's the same with Kells and Bill Cosby, now Diddy. Like they can't possibly drug and mind control these women because they are geniuses in their careers. But you have to look at a person's history. Diddy dad and mom worked with Frank Lucas. Diddy built a gangster empire. If you really look and listen to people on his label, past and present, they tell you how he is. It's
Absolutely.
called wearing blinders and to the ones we love. Fat Kim,
Mhm.
like you brought up Bill Cosby, Kim, so I'm gonna go back. I want to tap into Bill Cosby. So my family was upset with me when I was saying that Bill Cosby was guilty. And the reason they were upset with me because Bill Cosby represented hope for so many African American families, right? That you can get on that level. He was rich, he was doing amazing things, he had TV shows, he had Fat Albert. So he really represented our community. And I'll tell people when you have evidence where an individual in a court case actually said, yes, I drugged, I did drug these individuals and then have sex with them, and he admitted to it. Yes, he was guilty. He even admitted to it. In the document, the case was closed, so all that was supposed to be sealed, right? Sealed was the word that I should be using. And they did work very hard to unseal it, but he was guilty. He
Mhm.
did it. but everybody felt like it was a setup. But he admitted it himself. So when a person even admits the crime, we still tend to not believe it. And I'm
Mhm.
just blown away by that. What you think? Same thing. We see evidence, we see videos,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
testify that you did it. So I'm just blown away by that. Frankisha said, "Woo, honey, I've been wanting to get up and tell the truth at a funeral." Me too. Me too, because people not good, but we still sit there like, man, he was a good brother. She was a good sister. Mean as a rattlesnake.
Man, Frederick, this is the thing. This is the tall tale sign of at the funeral. How many people show up at the funeral? Because if you can see through it, you know that person wasn't a good person.
Or they suck, or they want to be nosy.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people that just
Yes.
go to everybody's funeral and then go to at the repast to be nosy. But they be, yeah, it's crazy. They be lying and acting like people a good person. Kim, he's the one that trashed his name, not the people who brought out the truth. Uh, who do you mean Kim trashed their name? You talking about Bill Cosby or Diddy? And then Frankisha said, "My family won't let me." Um, no, we won't let. No, no, no. You can't have somebody stand up in the church disrupting a funeral.
Like, really?
No, I'm not even gonna say that somebody should allow you to stand up and do that. Okay, so both. Okay, so she was saying that both of them, Bill Cosby and Diddy, um, trashed their name, and people brought out the truth. So it's hard, and when people bring out the truth, people don't want to believe the truth.
Exactly. Exactly. And and it's how many times have you just somebody came and told you something that was just so unbelievable, and automatically your mind be like, it's unable to accept it, and it's like, no, and the only thing that can come out your mouth is, no, I can't believe that. um and it doesn't. And in some instances it's not that the person can't believe it. It's that it's such a shock to know that this particular person could do these different things.
Mhm.
But then once that shock comes in, and you can, especially when you can see evidence and your mind is still there, you need to check yourself. You need to check your biases, because you have formulated a belief system. And I will tell you this, and I'm just going to put that little psychiatric hat on. You've been doing this for a very long time. And how many people have you buried with your beliefs that were innocent? You really have to take a pause. Like, who all have I harmed? And how have I harmed them? With my mouth, with my opinions, you know.
When I see people opinions and I'll be like, do you really think like that? That makes me not to come to you and talk about something serious or what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not a very kind person and supportive person, then why would I even come to you if I'm going through some things in my life? And I
Mm-hmm.
look at what people think and how they feel and how they express themselves, especially on social media. Kim said she had a cousin that actually told the truth about her cousin being a drunk and a drug addict. Girl, folks were red hot mad. Yeah, people do be mad.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that was a good funeral. Kim, I bet that was a real good funeral. Just tell the truth about people. But people really do not want to believe that individuals could do harm to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want to look at life in like rose-colored glasses. But
Yeah.
when we get to court, they have to have enough evidence to even go to court. So
Mm-hmm.
just because a person is found not guilty doesn't mean that they're innocent. And I think people forget that all the time. And when we look at things about transportation to commit prostitution, that is definitely human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was found guilty for. But people downplay it. Like, that's not even a serious charge. Yes, it is. They get 10 years apiece. So
Mm-hmm.
something to think about.
Well, I think one of the thing, and another thing, as you share that, Dr. Vanessa, because the moment you said it, I'm seeing his face in the courts when he turned after they said that ruling. Giving the projections of once he go to court and they give him his charges, he turned and he said to his children, "I'll be home soon." To me, that is like, okay, it's
I'm
like he got something else up under his sleeve.
Mhm.
And so, I cringe at that.
Yeah. I hate when our judicial system is based on money.
Mm-hmm.
Individuals who have money normally are able to get like probation, they get early parole, they get a slap on the hand because they're rich, right? They get the best defense. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are poor, this justice system is not for you. Because, and it definitely is about money. And I just
Yes,
do not like that about our justice system.
that is it.
It's about money. Kim said we need to start holding people accountable and stop saying we have to support someone because they are black. This is a cycle that dates back in the day, keeping everything under wraps. Meanwhile, the ones doing something good, we backstab or talk trash about them. Yeah, I'm not going to support you when you're not doing stuff right. And she said the judicial system and now our government is all about money. And it is. And it's sad. It's not about the people.
Kim, I'll share something with you. One of the things I love about being with Dr. Vanessa is I'm a little bit more subdued, but Dr. Vanessa will be like, I can't support you because you do X, Y, Z. And I'm sitting over there like, oh my God, she said that.
And I Google you. Before I do anything with you, I'm going to go do a whole
Yeah,
background.
I'm gonna Google, I'm gonna research, and it would be like, nah, you're not a good fit for me. But Dr. Vanessa, like, I would support you, but this is where you at, and I can't do that. I can't be connected with you. And I'm like, oh my
You better get it together. I won't, because somebody else's image becomes your image. And if you
God.
look, a lot of people have separated themselves from Diddy and from R. Kelly, right? People
Mm-hmm.
are like, no, I wasn't there. I seen what Denzel Washington said. He was not at a Diddy party and he wasn't joking.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't align myself with people that's not right. Oh, Frakisha say she sure do. Yes, I do. I don't fool with everybody, and I stand on my morals and values.
Right.
If you're
And
not,
and that is that part, right, that part there is a true statement, because you see, you guys see Dr. Vanessa and I, we cross, we're either in the room together or we're in separate rooms representing one another. And the key thing of it is, when I show up, I got to show up in the best format to represent her, and vice versa. But now, if I'm out here doing some shady stuff, and then you go back and go, oh, did you hear what Dr. Juanita did? you know, then I'm gonna have to get one of them little hard talks.
we was talking about a lady that she has a nonprofit, and you tried to warn me. I really learned this from you, from not partnering with everybody, right? And you was like, "Well, I tried to tell you." I was like, "Well, you weren't direct. You didn't tell." Now I'm very direct when I tell people, right? You just kind of roundabout way told me not to deal with her, and I was like, "Okay, well, she didn't say not to," and it was a bad decision. But I learned now I need to be more direct, and I do need to do research on people and their value systems and how we align. Kim says yes, she does. She had my mouth drop one day when she was talking about this guy that came to her table at an event. I loved every minute of it. Yeah, if you ain't right, your energy not right, your spirit wrong, we not doing no business together. Or if anybody has told me that you have committed a crime against them or you have a background, I just can't rock with that.
Yeah.
It is, if you're proven innocent, okay, I just try not to be in the middle of it. I just stay away. I don't try to judge. Okay. Well, you still talking about me, Kim? And she's talking, and her whole face shows that she isn't following up his mess. I love V. Yeah, I'm not fooling with
But
you.
Kim, I will be honest with you, that unfortunately, well, fortunately, that's an Aquarius move there. You gonna get the whole face and the body language. That's just where it's at. Like, mm-mm.
Yeah, and we ain't friends. Like I like to rock with people that are doing really good, that support survivors, that are loving and kind. And if I find out that's not who you are, then I just really can't deal with you. I'm just gonna kind of move away. Or I
And
might leave.
right. And you have to, as for those that have companies, those that are building, those that even just caring about the standards that they have set for themselves. It's important for us to set, have our non-negotiables, our forms of boundaries, are really the I call it moral compass. My moral compass is going to kick in, because when I look at just me and my family,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want no bad reports coming back to my family. I can deal with people out in the streets, but my family, that's a high stake game for me. You know, so
It's important. She's still talking about me and laughing. Kim said I only knew, but he was so into what he was saying, he didn't notice, but I did. Yeah, you do have to read social clues. You do. Yeah, of course you noticed it. Kim has an organization called Hearty Hands, and so she specializes in epilepsy and epilepsy support. So if you have epilepsy and know somebody, reach out to Kim Hardy with Hearty Hands Foundation because she's phenomenal and she's talking about me now and making me laugh. But I love you, Kim. Thank you.
We
Me and
love
Dr. Tia love.
him.
Yeah. So, but think about how people respond and who's supporting him, and pay attention to that.
Hmm.
Those are clues about who people really are.
And if I can add, Dr. Vanessa, for those that are listening, those that catch the replays play, we have to speak out and call things what they really are. We're joking, here about how what our approach is. When it's really important, I'm going to speak up. And we have got to start calling people out, because this is the thing. And I'm using the word perpetrator intentionally. When a perpetrator begin to prepare for their victim, they've already plotted days, weeks, months in advance. They know what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. And what they're banking on is that all the people connected will be silent. And and when we look at that, we are playing a factor in helping them to be who they are. And it's important for us to be able to speak up, to speak out, to call them on their bull crap and let them know, I see you.
I see you.
I see you. They might not see you, but I see you.
I think I'm gonna start putting that on people posts. I see you. I see you. I see who you support and what you support, and I can't do anything about it but control me and
Mm-hmm.
if I support you or not. That's the only thing I could do. Yeah, but
Exactly.
I'm not to fool with you, but I'll be watching that. So, what do you say to a victim that was just affected by this case and found that as a trigger, and it really bothered them? So, one that hasn't come forward or one that has came forward. But what do you say to a victim that kind of feel some type of way?
The first thing I would recommend that they do is seek help, get the support they need to not relive, to not relive or to hold on, go back into that coil that I talked so much about. Um, we need your voice. We need your voice. We need your strength. We need you to be able to stand up and speak out on what is going on. And even if you're not in a position to speak out, to stand with individuals and organizations that are on the front line, that are speaking up, that are providing the necessary resources and support that will help individuals in your situation. The biggest thing with this is do not go back into your safe space, to your place of hiding, to your comfort zone. And I know that's easier said than done. And this is why I'm saying, have your community that is your go-to support systems, or, that places that you feel safe at, such as, domestic Hush No More Domestic Violence Walk in October. Being able to be in spaces like this, you don't have to be that frontliner, but you need to be visible, because the more we grow organizations such as this, the more we are speaking up for individuals such as those with epilepsy, those that are going through different types of things, because epilepsy is a trauma. Epilepsy individuals also are victimized in numerous forms. So things pop out, but when we can take back our voice, take back our power, and amplify our visibility, then we can slowly begin the healing process and become that ally that organizations need. But to go back in and isolate yourself and relive everything that has happened is giving the perpetrator permission to keep victimizing others. And that is what we do not want to happen as you move forward.
I always say you don't have to, when you decide to hush no more, you don't have to go on a big platform like me and you do, right? You don't have to travel the world sharing your story, but coming forward, getting help and resources is important. If it happened 10 years ago and you still struggling with it, it's time to get in that healing space, right? And I always say you're the most important person in the universe. So triggers to me are just a reminder that you still got some little work to do. Your little spider senses, right?
Mhm.
So I think that it's important that we pay attention to that and work on ourselves, right? Get the help that we need. Okay. Right. So Dr.
Absolutely.
Juanita, how can people find you and what do you got going on? Because are pretty amazing.
I think so. Thank you.
You need to put
But I have a lot of things going on. All of these mini hats. I'm going to give you the my newest baby, which is our emotional color rainbow.
woo, new book.
Yes, we got a new book. We haven't started promoting it yet, but that is coming out. We're going to be promoting it, pushing it, sending out to everyone. This is one of our new journals, and this journal is one that we created first of all through counseling. We've been working with that for 2 years, and basically, you hear me talk a lot about voice and visibility, and that's because when we are impacted by trauma, we lose our ability to speak up for ourselves. And so, this journal was intentionally designed as a means of being able to help you and others to begin to um, regain your voice and your visibility. The other biggest thing that we have going for us is our Women and Leadership Retreat. I'm so excited about it. August 22nd through the 24th, all inclusive retreat, $400, a whole entire weekend filled with activities and everything that we do. I'll tell what I tell everyone on the platforms that I speak on is that we all go to retreats. We need to attend retreats. And so there for whatever purposes, all of these retreats, they help you in one format or another. Our retreat, and I'm saying our because Dr. Vanessa will be training in that as well. But in our retreat, we're going to focus more on, guess what we've been talking about, trauma impact. We're going to help you to begin to understand how you work, how your brain works, and what that really looks like. And not only will you be able to take the tools and resources from this particular retreat to help you with what you are dealing with, but you'll also be able to take it back into your workplace, back into if you are faith-based, if auxiliaries, clubs, whatever it is that you are involved in, you'll be able to help and support others in this particular space. And so we invite you, your girlfriends, um, anyone that you're attached to, your coworkers, to join us on this retreat and to know that you definitely will have some massive tools to take back and apply, not just for yourself, but for others.
I'm excited. I think this is going to be just special because a lot of times people just want to go to a train, they go back home right into the mess. But when you go on a retreat, you get away. It's all about you. It's not about your spouse. It's not about your kids. It's about you and having that safe space. And so I am big on retreats, and I think we all need it. We need to be able to get away, right? We
Mhm.
all need to be able to get away. So that's I'm
Absolutely.
happy about that. And I feel like you just gave me an exclusive about your book. So say your website and your number and information so that the viewers or the listeners on our podcast can actually know how to get in contact with you.
Absolutely. Our website is rediscovermewi.org, rediscovermewi.org. And our phone number is 803-446-6594. Thank you,
Did
Kim.
you go out?
I thought it was
Say
on
it.
your end.
It's so awesome, and I'm excited about her retreat. I think it went out, so I want you to say it again just to make sure that
Sure.
people can get the contact.
Absolutely. Okay. The website is rediscovermewi.org, rediscovermewi.org, and the phone number is 803-446-6594.
She is bomb, y'all. When I tell you, Dr. Juanita will tell you what is going on with your brain as relates to trauma. I learned so much, and so I highly encourage you to connect with her. If you're looking for a counselor, if you're looking for different programs, her retreat is going to be amazing, and I'm excited about it. And I'm honored that me and Tiara from Root Vibrations to be part of it as well.
Mhm.
Before we go with you, it says, "Know that you are important, special, and are loved, beautiful." And you are more than a survivor, you are a warrior. So tell yourself that as you heal from your trauma, you got this. Oh, that is beautiful, Kim. That is definitely something that we could
Yes.
tell individuals who are really struggling with this court case and the trial. And even in October, it's going to be hard for some people if he doesn't get the max amount of time. So we're looking at that, and we really do care about the people that are part of our community and those that are not part of our community, but we care about you. Okay. If you need to reach us, you can always reach out to hushnomore.org. You can find us on all the social media platforms and reach out. We have some amazing things coming up. We got our waterfall hike. It's going to be in August, and I cannot wait to actually go. So if you all want to go hiking with us on August the 10th, reach out and let me know because it's really fun and it's free. We also have our sexual energy class that's coming up. I talked to y'all about it at the last show. It's called Experience the Healing Power of Your Sexual Energy. Right now we're in session and it is amazing, y'all. So the next one is August the 6th through September the 10th. I'm really big on working on your energy, your male and feminine side, your masculine and feminine side of your energy. So I would love to work with you in that space. And so reach out. And Dr. Juanita mentioned our walk. So October 18th, we're having our domestic violence walk. So we would love to have you come out with us, register online. You can go to hushnomore.org, get more information. We're looking for vendors, sponsors, and anybody who want to just show love and kindness. All right. And this year is different because we're actually supporting the disabled community because they're at a higher rate of being abused. So it's actually a walk, roll, run this year. So if you know anybody that's in a wheelchair, that's blind, that has any type of disability, have them come out because we'll have a lot of resources for them too. Know that we love you and that we're here to support you because it's about healing and getting to that next level, right? And that you're the most important person in the universe. So thank you, Dr. Juanita, for joining.
Yeah.
And I wish that I meet a lot of you at our events. Peace and blessings.